Hi, everyone. Welcome to Transcending Conflict. My name is Marilyn Shannon, and I am delighted to be here with you today and sharing this body of work, which is endless and goes on and on and on. So, with that being said, Transcending Conflict, one story at a time, one relationship at a time. That's what it takes. Relationships matter. And that's where we learn the most we're going to learn about ourselves and the world around us through relationships. Um, and stories. That's how our humanity comes in through the stories that we share with one another. And they're powerful. That's where we connect. That's where we realize that we're not so different after all. Once we hear each other's stories, we know that we're on the same page. And transcending conflict, what does transcending mean? Transcendence. It means that it's not just your change, but when you make these kinds of profound changes, everything around you looks different. Everything changes. There's this awe surrounding you. Okay, so let's learn about transcending conflict and how you can apply the tools and the knowing to your everyday life. So, my name is Marilyn Shannon. I am an experienced facilitator, author. I'm a Superior Court mediator. I became a mediator because I was teaching special ed and it was crazy, and I knew I could see the conflict, and I wanted to be able to help people in their conflict by mediating and bringing people together. I'm a consultant, a life business coach. I'm a speaker, journalist, an online TV, radio host, and the founder of Women's Power Networking and PRISM, which is the People's Recovery Initiative for Solutions and More. I want to help people who are impacted. That could be somebody who's in recovery, somebody using, a family member, and just the general public. We all need to know about that as well. As a speaker, I am motivational and inspirational, as you will see. I focus on listening, communication, leadership. Everybody can find the leadership within them to be leaders, and we can't have enough leaders. It would be wonderful if everyone was a leader, because leaders are an invitation. They're not control freaks, and it would be, and leaders lead leaders. So if we're going to have a healthy society, everyone, including our children, can learn the skills. I love to work with people in personal growth and personal freedom. All of these things create freedom for each and every one of us. I am also an author. I have written a series of books called In Just One Afternoon, Listening into the Hearts of. The first one examined men through their emotions and the things that they are interested in. I interviewed a whole bunch of men, and then I interviewed twins for the twins book. My mother and my aunt are currently 97, identical twins. Twins teach us a lot about relationships and how to get along and sibling rivalries. So find yourself a way to keep notes and your thoughts. This could include a spiral notebook. I love spiral notebooks because you can kind of flip back, right? The cover, and it makes it easy if you want to write. But certainly journal however you like. Use your phone, use a computer, use your hand, but just have something available all the time, so that when you have a thought, you have a learning, you have an experience, jot it down. This is very important. There is an author called Julia Cameron. She wrote a book called The Artist's Way. And every morning she wrote in her journal, and she called it the morning pages. I've looked back on mine because I've done them through years, and it's amazing what I can see in my travel through myself. So get a book, however you like, but keep it with you. It's real important to keep track of those aha moments because they disappear. They're lucid. So write them down. Okay, here we go. So, open mind, open heart, right? So come to this. The teacher asked a student, "Would you like a cup of tea?" The student answered, "Yes." So the teacher poured the tea until it filled the cup, and then spilled over the saucer and the tray. The student asked the teacher, "Why didn't you stop pouring when the cup was filled?" and the teacher sent him to close up the trash. And when he returned, the teacher filled the cup properly and gave him his lesson. You can't put anything into your cup until you take out what's already there. This is called having a beginner's mind. A beginner has the openness and innocence of a child and opens up for new questions and answers. So this is how I'm going to ask you to come to this and every training and every time you talk to me or somebody else. Come with an open mind. Come with an open heart. Yeah, I hear a lot of times people say, I know that. I know that. I've heard that. Yes, you've heard everything. You know everything I'm going to tell you today, but it isn't in your heart. When it's in your heart, you practice it better. When it's in your heart, it's in your body, it's in your life. When it's in your head, not so much. You don't feel feelings in your head, you think them. So that's where your ego is. And if you know it all, then you're not willing to learn. So come with an open cup, an open mind, and an open heart. So the conflict journey. So individuals of all ages are faced with many opportunities in life and work that propose endless challenges and learning experiences. We are healing and dealing on a regular basis with disagreements and their consequences that we cannot escape from. You can't. It's all around. You're gonna, whether you ask for it or somebody else is giving it to you. There is conflict, but there are opportunities. There are challenges, but there are opportunities. There is messes, but there's learning. And those are how we wake up ourselves. Those are how we get in touch with our emotions. This volatile environment, no matter who we are, can be uncomfortable and cause endless pain in our relationships. These relationships include the relationship you have with yourself, your partners, your work colleagues, friends, family, and the relationship you have with your future can all be in conflict. Being present in life makes us part of the emotional landscape that surrounds each of us. So being present allows us to be part of what's going on in the present moment because that's the only place you could be actually present, current, and know what's going on. Can't do it from looking back because who knows what happened there because through the years things change and the future doesn't really exist yet. So really all you have is this present moment and what's happening in this moment and what the emotion is in this moment to deal with. Conflict journey continues. So what can we discover about conflict that will unify and simplify our relationships, allowing us to break free from the barriers and limitations that keep us separate from each other? What are those things that we can discover that will bring us together rather than divide us? So how can conflict be used for peace? Think about it. How do you think in your life you can use conflict to create la-la, woo-woo, comfort, love? How can we develop and maintain relationships that are magnificent and lovely? One relationship at a time, one story at a time. And why is that? Relationships can be lovely even when they didn't start off always lovely or magnificent, but they are lovely and magnificent because we're learning with them. And when you reflect in a relationship, you can see the growth. You can see your growth even when it's still hard. You can see how you approach something, how you thought of it differently, how you handled it. So why this will work? So the conflict conversation is designed to build, this conflict conversation is designed to build individuals, parents, families, teams, couples, neighbors, and all citizens of the world by providing an understanding of relationship and conflict. That's why it's going to work. This workshop will create a balance between who you are in a relationship. That's very important. I know that there are people, and me included, who love to please other people. But if you're not happy, they're not happy either. So it starts with moi, it starts with you. Your commitments and sense of responsibility results and your desire to be in a relationship that are loving is why this is going to work. Sorry. And I just lost my, let's see, let me go back to this next slide. Okay. Just like with any recipe, because of how unusual the flavors can be and how the ingredients fit together and allow for the tastes and textures to be created that are magic, well, so are people. We're made of all kinds of flavors, shapes, sizes, looks, location, language, emotional strength, intelligence. We're just a combination of flavors and different tastes. We're no different than that recipe. And so having patience and understanding that there are going to be differences no matter what, just know that going in. We're not all the same, and we haven't had the same background with relationship. We haven't had the same background with how we communicate. And most of the time, we haven't. So it is that way in the kitchen, boardroom, in teams, in front of the mirror, and what is necessary for success is to recognize that there's going to be differences. It is how transcending conflict will immediately impact your communication, how you lead, you guide, you produce results, how you love, how you connect, grow, and personally feel alive and magic. That is what happens when you are in relationships that work with the people in your life, strangers, and ultimately with yourself. Listening is what connects and unifies, supports, and integrates all these various parts of us and each other, our backgrounds, our ideas, and the people in our lives. Listening is what ties them together. Listening is what creates a pattern. Listening is what makes all the difference in the world. Listening is the essence in creating the peace in our conflicts. The major conflict resolver is listening. We listen for the connection. We listen to hear similarities. We listen to know when there is a conflict. We listen through all of our senses, through our eyes, through our taste, through our hearing, through our touch. Everything is giving us information. And when we listen on that level, we are in the moment and aware. And we are processing from that place. And it's more truth that we hear. And when transcendence occurs, everything is shifting on all levels, and listening creates that shift. So, why listening? Well, it alerts us to the fact that we are listening and hearing through our feelings, through the tension in our bodies. Listening is an awareness, right? Anything that's telling you something is you're listening for the information. So when you feel your hands are clammy, or your heart is beating, or you don't feel well, you feel dizzy, and this is in relationship to a relationship, well, then you're hearing something. Your awareness is telling you something is off and can hurt your heart. We're listening for so what we want to do through this and through what we're going to talk about is we want to listen for when we are feeling that off, when our hands are clammy, when we know something is off. We also want to listen for when things are going well, right? When we have that tingly, effervescent feeling and we're experiencing a relationship that is working. You want to be able to listen for when things work, for when they're not working. And you want to be able to listen to know the difference and listening to give yourself kudos for when relationship is working and when you've heard that it's not. It give yourself acknowledgement the whole step of the way. Because if you're going to work with yourself, that's one way to ease the conflict that you're feeling when you go into a new situation or in a relationship, new or old. Okay? All right. So the power of conflict. Very often we avoid the conflict, right? Because it scares us and we don't know how to handle it. Well, that's going to change because you're here today. You're going to hear, look, you're not going to learn everything you need to learn today about conflict, but you're going to learn enough to get you to the next level or the level after that. And you're going to hear enough to see clearly within your relationships or see more clearly. So, in actuality, conflict is a good thing. It lets us know that something is not working out and needs to be fixed and worked on and addressed and healed and dealt with, right? And the most important tool we have, as we've been talking about, is listening. When we listen authentically, um, we're going to hear our personal agendas. So this is where conflict, not where it starts, but it's a good beginning. We all have a personal agenda of what we want to see happen. We make things up. We, go into a situation like, okay, I want it this way. We make a plan, right? You hear people talk about the plan didn't work. Well, okay, well, sometimes the plan isn't going to work and you got to be flexible, right? Because things happen, the universe happens, and no matter what our plan is, it may not happen. However, we have power, and listening sometimes occurs in it occurs in the present moment always, but we can listen backwards from the present moment and learn what we did and what we could have done differently and adjust it. And when we enter into a relationship uh, with these personal agendas that are like keep us in a box, the relationship is never going to work if we have no room, a beginner's mind, to bring in new information and our partner's wishes and wants and desires. So it's real important to hear that you have, listen to know that you have a personal agenda. And it's not get rid of it. It's kind of like park it and just keep it there. It's not going anywhere. Just park it and be open to what else you can hear. What we also, with listening, get to listen to a whole body from our whole body, taking in when somebody is uncomfortable with what we are talking about or in a relationship, or when you're uncomfortable. You listen to how they move around in their seat or what they do with their head or are they making eye contact, those kinds of things. I can sit here and lay it all out for you, but that's not the purpose. The purpose is that you are empowered with enough information through this training that you can understand the essence and the philosophy behind things so that you can practice this on your own. And remember something about listening. Listening is an art. You practice it every day. You practice it with, all of your situations, where you go. Whenever you can remember, turn on your listening, turn on your observation, turn on your awareness and see what you get that day. And the better you, or the more you do it, the better you get at it. Because it's important to be able to look around and see what people look like. How are they experiencing life? Take it in. No judgment, no putting people in a box. Just take it in. Okay? All right. So you're listening from your body to a whole body and taking in what you can learn in order to mediate the conflict. I mean, it's okay to turn around to somebody when you're seeing, right? Seeing slash listening their body looking uncomfortable. It's okay to turn around and say, am I saying something that is bothering you? Am I saying something that's confusing? I see that you look uncomfortable. Well, maybe somebody's looking at their watch and you notice it, right? Slash listening, because noticing is listening. And you say to them, do you have enough time to talk? I mean, these things that you can say to somebody take care of you, but they also take care of the other person as well, and they take care of the relationship. So what I tell people all the time is use your words. That prevents conflict, or at least it mediates it, it softens it. It may not, and still may be conflict there, may not fix it or get rid of it, but it doesn't have to turn into something that's so painful you can't handle it. All right. We won't take it. Okay, so with listening, you don't take things as personally. because you've heard the other person's fear and underlying conversations. So this is another very important understanding when we're talking about conflict. You know, you're not the cause of how people respond. You're not the cause at all, right? People get to respond how they respond, just like you are responsible for how you respond to other people. They're responsible for how they respond. You are not. So you could say something to me, and I'm going to respond one way, and you can say it to somebody else, and they're going to go off. You're not responsible. It's how I did it or how they did it. Okay, so don't take it personally. And when you listen, you've observed these different behaviors in people, and you know it. So, conflict, this is one of my favorite slides. It's normal, it's inevitable, it's going to happen. It's necessary because growth happens through conflict. Where do you think freedom occurs? Freedom comes when we're not free. So conflict is a part of everyday life, and it can therefore either build or destroy a relationship. It's up to you. And so we're here. Now listen, you may have all the greatest intentions in the world to build a relationship, but somebody else doesn't want it. That doesn't mean what you've done and what you've given that relationship is forgotten. Every good thing you do is a seed planted. Everything you do is fairy dust. Somebody may see it today, they may see it tomorrow, they may see it next year or next lifetime. It doesn't mean you didn't accomplish something. Just don't take it personally, because people are walking in their shoes based on where they've come from. So conflict is the energy that builds up when individuals or groups of people pursue incompatible goals in their drive to meet their needs and interests. This is the personal agenda that we're talking about. This puts it into different terms. It's that energy, that feeling that comes between people that you can listen to know is there. Close your eyes for just a moment, okay? Can you put yourself in the midst of a conflict, any conflict, and can you feel the buildup of energy? Can you feel the energy rush between you and your conflict partner or partners? So, uh, what I want to say is, you can remember a situation and almost feel the exact same way. When you've heard the story, I'm sure, where people go to work and they go to the water fountain and they repeat what happened yesterday or last week and can feel it. They can recreate that same feeling. Well, do it now. Okay, take a look back in your life. Could have been this morning, could have been 5 minutes ago. Maybe it was yesterday, maybe it was last week. Okay, pick a conflict, a situation. Now I want you to close your eyes again and let's talk about it. Close your eyes for just a moment again. Put yourself in the midst of a conflict, any conflict. Can you feel that energy again? Can you feel the tension? Can you feel the discomfort, the fear? What's it feel like rushing through you? Give yourself a minute. Now, what do you make up about it? Now, I would love to hear from anyone with any comments, and I'll give you my email, and you already know how to reach me on the social media platforms. So I'd love to hear any comment you have, any thoughts you have, any ahas you have, especially ahas. Let's build on those ahas. Okay, so this is some data that I use all the time because it's so meaningful and it's about listening. So according to the International Listening Association, 45% of our time is actually spent listening, while we are distracted, preoccupied, or forgetful 75% of the time. Let me read that again. According to the International Listening Association, 45% of our time is actually spent listening, while we are distracted, preoccupied, or forgetful 75% of the time. We need to pay attention. And also know that other people aren't paying attention either. So you're not, because I know I wasn't, and other people aren't either. The adult attention span averages 22 seconds. And right after listening to someone, we usually recall about half of what we've actually heard. Within a few hours, we remember about 20%. What does this data tell you? First of all, it tells you how much better you can be, right? It also tells you that it's a given. People aren't going to hear you all the time. They're distracted. That's conflict right there. It's not about you. It's about them, about the world, about the energy, about what's coming into their head then. It's what they woke up that morning with. It's what happened to them yesterday. It's what happened to them in the birth canal. This happens all the time. So know that sometimes you're going to repeat yourself again because somebody's going to miss it. Or you may have to ask somebody, did you hear what I said? And they're going to say, no. And you're going to say, well, let me tell you. Okay? You can mediate a lot of conflict with common sense and knowing how people are. Balance of power is huge and a very important observation and knowing when it comes to conflict and listening, because there's a lot of conflict when there's an imbalance of power. So balance of power or imbalance of power can often be at the root of relationship discord. When one partner, family member, colleague, boss is a control freak and mushes somebody else, and that person who's being mushed doesn't have a voice. Or maybe you're being the musher. You need to know if you are squishing somebody else. So the clues as to the balance are detected by the energy of the individual or the group. You can tell, you can feel it, and that feeling becomes part of your listening because you can hear the feeling. When energy is out of balance, there is inherently an imbalance of power and the energy is stuck. If energy is stuck, there can be a sense of control and manipulation. So if somebody is manipulating you, they're not listening, they're not giving you a chance, they want to know your every move, they want you to call them 10 times a day, they blame you for things, that is an imbalance of power. Nobody should do any of that, and neither should you if you're doing it. So remember, you're here, which is a great thing. Thank you. Doesn't mean that you're perfect, because I'm not, right? We have things to learn. I know that sometimes I get upset when somebody doesn't do what I want them to do. So my listening kicks in, and then I'm like, oh, I don't want to be that way. So your listening is going to start to kick in. Okay, so energy is stuck. There can be a sense of control and manipulation of power over you or someone else. Or maybe you don't realize it, but you're the one doing the controlling. Controlling doesn't feel good. It isn't. And there are times people will say that controlling is something that they're not controlling. They're helping you. They're loving you. They're being responsible. They're taking care of you. Well, if you don't ask somebody to take care of you that way, then it's controlling. If it feels bad, it's controlling. Being responsible and helping somebody feels good. Controlling doesn't feel good. So remember that too. And there's a whole nother conversation we can have about this. So giving you a little hors d'oeuvre here. The imbalance of power is obvious, and it's manipulation, and it's putting somebody down, and it's knocking somebody down at their knees. And this is a common exchange in relationships, and it comes with all people from all walks of life. So for an example, an individual who's stuck in their beingness and their being energy, where there's a lot of feelings, they'll use their feelings to blame others and make them feel guilty So, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I'm just bad at this. That's an example of somebody manipulating you and me and everybody else. They tend to help you feel like guilty. Well, they can't make you do anything, and you don't have to feel guilty. But learning that it's manipulation and learning that there's really no substantial truth there, not to say that somebody doesn't feel something and, you know, and need to, something that they need to express, but they don't have to do it in a controlling manner. They can use their words, they can express it, and you can't control how somebody receives it, and you can't control how somebody's going to participate. But if you try to control somebody's participation, that becomes manipulation, and that's an imbalance of power. He or she has over identified with the issues and looks like drama and has allowed their issues to turn to anger. So they're quick to anger. If they're not trying to control it, they don't have to be angry because they're not personally feeling bad about it or missing out on something. And when the energy shifts in this anger, and it can shift away from the anger, then the individual becomes compassionate and responsible. And they will say to you, okay, well, if you don't want to do it now, you will do it later or whenever you want. It's okay. Their doing it isn't lessened because you're not. See, that's what happens with somebody where there's an imbalance of power. Their power lies in your power. And so if they push you down, then they feel better when they really don't. You can't push anybody down to feel good yourself because you know that doesn't work. If you push somebody down, you're not going to feel good yourself. It doesn't matter. Let's see where we are. Um, so turning on your listening lets you know where you are in this balance. Lets you know if you're being the one that's being controlling and in balance, or is it somebody else? What is your partner saying in these situations? So put yourself in a situation like this, or maybe you are in one already. What's your partner telling you? Does it make sense? Is there truth in this? Is there abuse, physical, mental, or emotional problems, issues? So put yourself in those situations. What it could have, maybe it's not your partner. Maybe you're feeling trauma from a previous relationship or from growing up. A lot of us have trauma from growing up. And I can look back myself and look at situations where I was as a child. I think that there was a lot of control in my house, and control is from fear. So when somebody is scared, they're more controlling because they try to control it so they don't have to get more fear, and they think they have all the answers when they really don't. And a lot of times there is no sense in it, and it can be abusive. So who's in your relationship now? Who's controlling you now? What does it look like? What do you think they're really telling you? And how do you talk to somebody that is in this position? I mean, maybe you need to give them a few minutes to blow it off. Maybe you need to schedule a time to say, okay, we can't talk about it now. Well, can we talk today at 5? Maybe you have to look at the situation and where you're talking. Maybe you're in the midst of traffic and you can't concentrate, and neither can they. If you have sensitive situations and sensitive people in this imbalance of power, you have to listen to be able to be the leader in how you handle it. And that means in where you do it, time of day, maybe sometimes with people who are shaky and have a control issue, sometimes you have to turn around and tell them that they have to calm down before you're going to talk to them. There's all kinds of things, and we'll talk about more. And I would be happy if any of you are in a situation or have been in a situation to go delve into it even more. There's a lot to talk about. Okay, Conflicting emotional agendas that we spoke about before often prevent people from solving the problems effectively because they're leading with these emotional agendas as opposed to allowing them to kind of be there, but not so strong that you can't be in your beginner's mind. Emotions like jealousy, resentment, vanity define these agendas and will undermine your efforts and somebody else's. So if somebody has their own emotional agenda, it's being spearheaded by jealousy, resentment, vanity, all of these kinds of things. So look at them. Look at your partner. Is this something your partner is speaking about? Are you? Are you feeling jealous about something and it's coming off as anger instead of asking? Are you feeling resentment about something or vanity? Take a look. And what are the underlying conversations that you're having with yourself as far as these situations, if you're the one that's causing them? And look, you may not cause it all the time. You're part of, you may be part of it, but you're here. So analyze where you are. Every day is a new day and a new beginning. So emotions create stress and confusion that oftentimes prevent people from seeing or doing what would be more effective and in their best interests. The emotional agendas are often unconscious and historical. So, unconscious, if you were aware of it, you wouldn't want to do it necessarily, right? I mean, but if you are aware now, what does jealousy look like? How are you defining? How are you expressing jealousy? How is somebody else expressing jealousy back to you? So, you can listen for those definitions. And you don't have all the answers, but this is another beginning. Let's see. There was one thing I wanted to. Oh, historical. A lot of we talked about this too. A lot of things uh, come from our past, and we haven't made peace with them yet. So they're going to keep coming until we address it. Putting these things under the rug, smushing them, denying them isn't going to get rid of it. It's going to stay there. If anything, it's going to hurt us more. So you need to revisit them. And listening backwards historically helps. And I can go into that with you another time, but that's a big deal. So a lot of what we experience in our current relationships come from our history. And we create unconscious stress patterns. We can learn to go beyond the stress and agendas by listening to and understanding the universal language of conflict. And then we can experience transcendence. And so everything that you're doing with me today here is learning a universal language. And you'll discover your own. And then you tell me, and I'd love to hear your new discovery. So discovering this new frontier for peace will depend on your willingness, my willingness to listen for the emotional stuckness and the agendas. Respond from your heart. So there's two main emotions we have, fear and love. Fear comes from the ego and the uncomfort and the emotional agendas that are stuck and the imbalance and our history. And love comes from our heart and making peace and learning and growing and acknowledging yourself and me saying to you, hallelujah for being here. Respond from your heart. Respond from the love. Respond from empathy. Respond from the fact that you now know a lot more than you did when you started this. And that, you know, we're all the same and we all have issues. And a lot of people have fears and trauma from historical things, as we've said, and you don't know what people are or how they're walking in their shoes. So if you understand this, then find your power in your heart. Be this person who resolves conflict because you're in your heart. And by resolving it, it can still be conflict, but it's going to look different. Opening up our hearts and being able to create, release, control, and manage our energies in lieu of other people and situations helps to heighten our self-awareness, to be able to respect and see our samenesses while acknowledging our otherness. So by putting yourself in a situation to be able to listen, you will hear and see how alike you are with somebody. And then also honor how we're not alike. But that's part of those flavors that we talked about. And with this acknowledgement, we don't feel less than in ourselves, and we're able to take a leadership position in our conflicts that help to resolve them. So by acknowledging all of this, we feel strong. You feel strong. You feel powerful in yourself to take a chance and to go into a situation where there might be a little discomfort, but you feel good about yourself. You know you're going to do your best. You're going to use your words. If you are thrown off your power or your beam, you know you can get back on and do it again. And you will help resolve the conflicts, and people start coming to you to help them. So the more you use your listening to understand the conflicts in your life on a deep level, the more you will rise above the challenges found in everyday life. That's what happens. The challenges may not go away. They're still going to, but you won't see as many because they won't look so challenging. And also the ones that are there, you'll make into opportunities. Rising above conflicts creates new and powerful paradigms for resolving conflicts and turning conflicts into strengths. From this perspective, you'll feel strong, not in your ego where there's weakness, and you can sit in a neutral place. Rising above, rising above the conflict is neutrality, and with strength you rise there, you go there to assess any situation to know how to handle it. Stay there for a few seconds or longer and feel and experience what's going on around you with the conflict. Check in. Are you in your personal agenda? Can you see if somebody else is there? They keep repeating the same thing over and over again. Do they just want to stay there and keep not listening to you? You know when people aren't listening to you, they don't address what you're saying. They keep addressing what they're saying, but you'll hear it. And so go in that place of neutrality whenever you can, and not feeling yourself completely, but that you are more open to what's going on around you. And from this place of neutrality, you'll know what questions to ask, what steps to make, and you'll hear the aha moments and where to go. It'll give you direction. So the reality of the other person lies not in what he reveals to you, but in what he doesn't reveal to you and what he cannot. Therefore, if you would understand him, listen, not to what he says, but rather to what he doesn't say. That's really important when you're talking about conflict or anything. This creates conflict because people don't know this. They don't know that people are silent, don't use their words, but their body language speaks volumes. How they handle a situation, what they did yesterday, how they don't answer the phone today, that speaks volumes. And that's how people let you know what's going on, more so by their body language and their actions, more than telling through their words. But when you understand conflict, you understand to use your words. Understanding is a key ingredient to resolving issues and building these relationships. Understanding is not synonymous with agreeing. That's very important. Let me reiterate that. Because you understand doesn't mean you agree. It just means you get it. But you still don't have to agree. You understand why they say that, but you're not that. And that's okay. I can understand people who live an LGBTQ plus life. It's not me. I understand it. I don't agree with it for me, but I understand it for them. We have the right to disagree. It is just in how we do it that matters most to the outcome. You can tell that to people. You can say, I don't agree, but I understand you. I don't agree. I don't like it. But that's okay. I don't have to like it. You don't have to like everything. You can just understand, period. This is also very important. So we can't solve problems from the same kind of thinking we used when we created them. Albert Einstein. We listen our way to the next level from where we must act from. We have to go to the next level. You can't you can't be on the same level in a conflict. You can't be in the conflict tit for tatting. That doesn't work. That's being on the same level. Somebody has to rise above that level of tit for tat to see the day light, to be able to see a crack, to know what to do next. So rise above it. That's where you'll find your answers and your questions. And then and so we have to listen to know that we have to break free from the tit for tat. Oh, you have to hear yourself titting and tatting. And then you have to find your way, listen your way to above. That's not that you're above somebody, it's that you're away from the fray so that you can deal with the conflict. You listen for the answers, it leads you to the next question. If you're listening, right? When you listen, you're going to hear the next question. Then you ask the question and then you listen for the answer. If you don't listen for the answer, you're just going to keep asking questions. Somebody's going to feel you're not listening to them, and you're not. And let's see, when we're rise above and you're here, we find our person, let's say, to experience the trueness of practicing. This is where we practice true conflict resolution, is in that place of neutrality. Okay, now some exercises I want you to do, taking into account what we've been talking about, going back and looking at what we've at the slides, because you'll have it. So how does, be honest, how does the way you communicate affect how you listen? How are you communicating? Are you looking at somebody? You making eye contact? Are you in the present moment? Or are you using your cell phone while I'm talking? Are you on your cell phone when you're on the phone? Are you like reading Facebook while you're talking to somebody? Can't happen. You're going to miss something and cause a conflict. What do you notice about the way you listen? Write all this stuff down in your journal. How does the way other people communicate affect how you listen and what you listen for? When I started my listening practice, this was really important because I realized, I observed what was happening. I was at a coffee shop and I saw something. I was with my husband. I saw something and I didn't have his attention. I assumed I did, but I didn't. So I saw this thing and I said, Mark, come over here. He didn't come. Well, I was like, why is he not coming? And then I realized I didn't have his attention. Now, I could have gotten pissed because I could have thought I should have his attention. He should be giving it to me, but I didn't clear the way. So I heard that. I listened. And then I mediated the conflict before it even happened. Be honest with yourself. It's a good thing. I also realized when I started my listening practice that I was leaving a lot of things out of conversations. And I wasn't telling people everything because I made the assumption they knew. That causes conflict. So notice those things. You're going to see other things that I didn't even talk about. You're going to hear. What holds your attention? What loses your attention? Notice your triggers. The awareness you have to what triggers you in your is your ticket to being in a strong relationship. We all have them, these triggers, but listening to know them while making them your friend, an ally, and not your enemy will help make them more obvious and workable, and they'll help build you up instead of knocking you down. So notice your triggers. Notice what stops you from listening. What takes your attention? Where are you? Dissect it, and then you can deal with them. So now take a relationship in your life. This can include you if you want to, where there was a recent conversation with yourself or somebody else where there was conflict, big or small. Listen, not all conflict has to be huge. Just like all stresses don't have to be huge. It's the small stresses that will kill us. It's the small conflicts that eat us up over time, and it gets really annoying in a relationship. So notice the small ones too. No matter what, um, meditate on your reaction triggers results, okay? So what was the conflict? Write it down. What happened to your listening during this particular conflict? What did you notice, observe, see? Now share everything you can about this experience. Include what was going on in your body. What did you tell yourself? Your underlying conversation. What conversation did you have with yourself? That's the underlying one. It goes back and forth between your head, your heart, your shoulder, your elbow. It's all over yourself. All over yourself. And how did you resolve this? And did you? So read this again to yourself. Answer the questions. There's no right or wrong answer. It's all perfect. You may not like what you write, but it's perfect. You'll reflect back and things will change. Okay? Now, I want you to do this again with another conflict. And whichever one you choose this time, it can be the same one, it can be a different one. Now, I want you to ask yourself these questions. Write an account of this experience. Write the whole thing. I don't care. Write paragraphs. Write everything you can. Write again what you noticed. Listen to yourself and the other party. What did you hear? Write it down. How are you responding? How is the other person communicating and responding? How does it feel? How does what you said feel? How does what they say feel? What happens to you during this situation? Do you get lost? Do you get, smaller? Do you feel invisible? That's a common experience when there's an imbalance of power or when you don't like conflicts. A lot of us don't like them, right? We talked about that. So do you disappear? What do you recognize about the other person? What do you pick up about conflict and your communication, connection? What have you learned in summing this up? Now, I want you to stay with the same experience, keep processing it. And I want you to take these two experiences, these two exercises, and I want you to compare them and see what you can learn from it. Is your listening better? Are you observing better? Did you handle it better? Any little thing is a huge change. Every little thing. Acknowledge it, bring it up. Every little thing. Examine it and give yourself credit for any change and hold that change. Write that change down. Whatever the change is. I waited 2 minutes before I exploded. I left the room. I said this and it changed and did this. Every little change. The next experience you have, you'll have that. Okay, so here's a summary of some of the highlights, points that we were talking about. Remember to have a beginner's mind. Come open to a relationship and its conflict without thinking you know it all, because there's always more to know and learn and listen for. Conflict is normal and a part of everyday life. If you approach it as such, you will feel more empowered and you won't feel as confused and lost. Because when you're in a conflict and you don't know if you're coming or going, you can feel lost. You don't feel satisfied. But satisfaction doesn't come from winning the conflict, from having somebody agree with you. It comes from even just sharing your discourse. Expect the differences. We've talked about that. It's normal. Know that you can use your listening skills and your open heart to stitch the differences together for unification. It's not about how I change you or you change me. It's how we honor each other's talents. People do appreciate appreciation and gratitude, even when we don't agree with each other. So use that. That's a huge conflict tool. Appreciate somebody. Say, thank you for talking to me. I appreciate it. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful you have this opinion. I don't agree with it, but I'm grateful. People have a hard time getting mad at you when you're grateful to them. Listen, that's big. Don't run away from conflict. It won't go away, but it could get bigger. Use your words in coming together. Be honest and forthright. Set the stage for connection. Set the stage for reconciliation in all of your conflicts the best you can. If the power is imbalanced and there is abuse, or you just feel awful, you may need to seek out professional help. Don't forget that. I mean, we can talk about all of this and you can understand more about conflict and things to do. But if it's abusive and you feel scared for your life, your children, your partner, whatever, you need professional help. It can be challenging to mediate this type of relationship on your own. Remember, you don't have to agree, but finding mutual respect is key, and that is what we're looking for. Don't have to agree. You're not going to agree with everybody, and everybody's not going to agree with you today. Maybe next year they'll agree. And sometimes when you're out of the conflict, no, people may agree with you even more, or you will agree with them when the fire is out. Rise above your ego, emotions, hurts, ideas, mission, history, etc., to a place above the fray, to where you can welcome in new information, a new perspective, and empathy. You can't make people do this. You can do it. Maybe they'll do it because they see you do it. Remember, that's people do things by osmosis. When preparing for the conflict meeting, session, connection, lunch, dinner, or Zoom, we can work on our relationships anywhere. Take a few minutes to find your heart and remind yourself why you're doing this. So prior to getting into that meeting or making that phone call, just get centered. Remember why you're doing it. Come from love. Make sure everyone has the time to speak. Clear that in the beginning. And if they don't make a time, then clear that in the beginning. And if they don't make a time when everybody is available, it won't work. Um, you might have to, if you have a conflict with multiple people, you have to mediate and facilitate it. You just set the structure ahead of time, so people are on the same page. And that's very important in communicating and in conflict is giving the expectations ahead of time. When possible, make sure everyone knows what the meeting, talk, conflict is all about. Let them know up front. I want to talk to you about this. So there's no surprises. And you can say, I want to talk to you about this. And I know that we can come to some understanding. Kind of sugary, make it a little sugary. Take out the bite if you can. Be honest, but sometimes you must temper your words and feelings so they can be received. If you listen to the other person and you witness something in their face, delivery, body language that has a strong message, you may either need to check in with them, clarify it, add a little love, or even stop for the day. That's your choice. But you get to help bring in the light. The more you know, the more awareness you have in general, the more responsibility you have to bring in the light, to bring in the love, to bring in the calm, to bring in the peace. You bring it in the best you can. You can't always do it, but you try. You do your best. Come curious to all situations and then list your own that you would bring to the table that will help you in your conflict? What are your next steps? Who are they with? Who do you want to work with? Who do you want to address? We talked a lot about some previous conflicts and things of that sort. But now going forward, maybe there's a relationship that you don't have yet. But you know it's going to be tough. So what are your next steps? How do you want to work on your conflicts? What do you want to do to help yourself grow? Get a list and write them down. All right, so you can contact me anytime. Here is all of my contact information, some of my social media outlets, and I am happy to talk to you anytime you want. And that, my friends, is the training. I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to be doing more. I have lots of things to share, and I know you do as well. I'd love to have your comments. Please add them to the comments. Let me know what else you want to learn. What would you like? Give me, and you know what else? Send me your personal experiences of conflict and anything you have, because we can use those as examples, and then we all can learn from them. Okay? And if I've been able to help you in any way, I'm delighted. If you're not there yet, I'm also delighted because you're here. And it's a change. It's an opportunity. So with that, I hope you all have a lovely day, evening, wherever you are. I'm with you, and I am doing this work too. I often tell my clients when they come to my office, I sit in my chair ethically because I'm also doing the work. So I'm speaking from experience. So have a wonderful day. I will see you soon.